Today's message is a continued series. It's called, that's under this umbrella of what on earth am I here for? And it was interesting when I met Dennis then, and he was going to speak about GPS, and I said, you know, I had planned that, it just wouldn't work out. So he comes to talk about GPS and our direction in terms of what our purpose in life is, and how the scriptures are part of that also. And so it was interesting to me that here we are talking about that, and here he is. I pray, Father God, that the words of my mouth and the meditations of each of your hearts will be acceptable to you, O Lord, our rock and our redeemer. In the name of Jesus. Things are happening today, Lord. Somebody thumping. Is that what it is? So what are we here for? Okay, good. All right. The umbrella theme, as I said, is what are we here for? What on earth are we here for? The first one was called Beloved. And God is waiting. First of all, God is calling. He's been calling for a long time, just waiting for the answer to call. He called us and created us to love us, and He's waiting for us to open up our hearts to receive that love. And He calls us to belong to the family. And by way of Jesus, that family is called the church. Then He calls us to become like Christ, to be transformed in the image of Christ. And today we're going to be speaking about how He's calling us to be a blessing. And real quick, let me tell you, is as we go through these 5 purposes, you'll notice that they all get tougher. So God has asked me to do more than you probably thought you wanted to do, or maybe even thought to do. But that's how it's working. If you watch the progression of this, each time it gets tougher and tougher. Notice that it says we are called to be a blessing. How do you do that? You bless other people when you serve them. When you serve them. It may be physical, it may be in a financial way, it might be emotionally, it might be in their relationships, it might even be as practical as just a cup of water for somebody who's thirsty. In a practical way. Now you serve others biblically, when you serve others, biblically that means that you bless them. And so the 4th purpose for our calling today is that we're called, that according to the Bible, we were shaped to be of service. And now, Rick Warren uses this acrostic, which is the word shape, and he says that God uses our spiritual gifts, He uses our heart, He uses our abilities, He uses our personality, He uses our experiences. All of those He uses, and He shaped us with that to serve Him. To serve Him. So our first calling is to serve God. That's what we were called to do, right? The first purpose is calling in my life is to be shaped. I was shaped to serve Him, to bless, is what I put in there. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10 says like this: For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us. Before we were even born, God had created us. He made us a handiwork. What that means is that we are a masterpiece. We wasn't something that He just put together on the fly. This was thought out, this was meditated. He wanted you to be a masterpiece. It's important that you know that you are not a replica. You are not a carbon copy. You are unique. You are you, and there is no one else on earth like you. And He shaped you to work and to serve Him. And so if that's true, then we are to be ministers of Jesus. Now, oftentimes we think of ourselves as the minister is really the pastor, the reverend, the priest, whoever that might be, the clergy. And yet the Bible clearly says that we are ministers of Jesus. That's what the Bible says. In fact, Colossians 3:17 says, whatever you do, whether in word or in deed, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through Him. What that means is that everything we do, I should do to honor God, whatever my vocation is. If you're a teacher, you are a minister. If you're an administrator, you're a minister. If you're a laborer in construction, you're a minister. If you're a salesperson in the area of service, you're a minister. If you're a boat repairman, you are a minister. Everything that you do, you should do it. What? To honor God. And so as a servant, what you're doing, because you're a minister, is you're doing that up close and personal, one-on-one with each individual. In the big picture, you're doing it to honor God. To honor God, bring glory to God. So, friend, I want to say to you that when you accepted Jesus as your Lord and Savior, when you have said to him, I want you to come into my life, to be my Lord and Savior, when you cross that line, you stepped over it, you are actually stepping into a calling to be of service. A calling to serve others. That's what you were doing. Now, I know that's hard to believe, but that's exactly what we were called to do. We're called to be disciples. Look at the scriptures. We're called to be what? Ambassadors. We're called to be ministers of Jesus. Now, Pastor of mine, one we were talking about, and the pastor was talking about somebody who passed away, and I don't know how we got to the conversation, but I'm never going to forget what he said to me. He said, Joe, God doesn't save you from death. Death is imminent. God doesn't save you from death. God saves you for life. And he was ministering to me saying, he saves you for life because God has a purpose for your life that you might make a difference in people's lives. So if you're still here, you're still breathing, you're still alive, God hasn't saved you from death. God has saved you for life. That you might make a difference in somebody else's life. That means that everything that you do becomes significant. Now, I know of a Christian where that works at Subway. They have this coffee machine. If you ever go to their coffee machine, they have this coffee machine that's from Germany. And it really makes some good coffee. But it's one of those coffee machines, if you don't clean it every day, you don't get coffee. And since it's a community coffee machine for all the employees there at Subway headquarters, no one has the responsibility to clean it. But this one Christian, every morning, got to clean their coffee. Every morning, no one asked him to do it. He just did it. And did it for the glory of God. Because he knew that that would make a difference in people's lives. Everything that you do is significant. Somebody's thirsty and you give them a cup of water, that's significant. Somebody this morning gives you a word of encouragement, that's significant. Somebody gave you their hand this morning, that's significant. So our fourth calling is that we were shaped to serve him by serving others. Shaped to be in ministry to bless others. So if you're alive, you're saved, you've already received grace, haven't you? Anyone who's been saved knows and comes to the awareness that, man, wow, this is grace upon grace because, I didn't just deserve it. You see? When you become and you come into that awareness, you say, I've already got enough grace. This morning's offering, by the way, was an act of thanksgiving. And we did that not out of any obligation. Nobody here did that out of obligation. We do that because we give because of what we've already received. In fact, what we're giving is so small compared to what we receive. We do it almost like, God, I wish I had more. Give me more. We do it out of a heart of thanksgiving. And that's how we're supposed to serve others. We do it because we're blessed. We're blessed by being a blessing. We do it not because we're expecting anything, not because we want anything in return. We just want to do it because God called us to do that. In the same way we give our offering. But here's the thing. God loves you so much. He is so gracious that even on top of all the blessings that you've already received, He wants to give you more. And that's what I want to talk to you about this morning. After hearing this thing that we're ministers, after hearing this thing that we're disciples and ambassadors, and we're here to serve others, and we should do that because we're already blessed. I want to share with you that God, because He loves you, and He's gracious, wants to share more blessings with you. And so I want to share some blessings that we receive when we start serving others. And the first one is, when I serve others unselfishly, I will be blessed with joy. I will be blessed with joy in my life. Paul gives us this great example in Philippians chapter 2, verse 17. It says, but even if I am being poured out like a drink offering on the sacrifice of service coming from your faith, I'm glad and I rejoice with all of you. What is Paul saying here? So Paul is saying, I'm pouring out my life in sacrifice and service as an offering of thanksgiving to God for your faith. And it brings me joy, and I want to share that joy with you. It brings me joy, and I want to share that joy with you. So when we serve others, we are blessed to receive joy. And that's what happens. Joy begins to flood into our lives and into our hearts. And then it moves in the way we think. It moves us to start thinking about others. Philippians 2:4 says, not looking at your own interests, but each of you to the interest of others. To the interest of others. I don't know if Paul can be more clearer. Now I know that I just said a grammatic I made a grammatic error in what I just said, more clearer. Hey, I lived in North Carolina for 2 years where you learn how to say more better. And more better just sounds more better. You know what I mean? It just, if you say better, it just doesn't sound the same as more better. Like in Spanish, it's más mejor. But it's more better. Well, more clearer. How more clear can he be? He's calling us to say, you need to take the focus off you and put the focus on yourself. And joy comes when we get the focus off ourselves. When I get the focus off me. But it also comes when I use my gift to help others. You use these gifts that God gave you to help others. It feels good. You all know how it feels. Everyone here, I don't know about everyone, I can't say that. But I know there are a lot of people in this church that feel good about the blessings that they've been in other people's lives. You know what that feels like? I mean, I can think of those times when I spent in prayer and walked away from that prayer meeting saying, wow, that was pretty cool. That feels good. You know what I mean? It feels good when you're doing God's will. There's just something good about it. And we should feel that, because that's how we were wired to receive that blessing of joy when we serve others. Peter says in 1 Peter 4:10 says, each of you should use whatever gift you have that you receive to serve others as faithful servants of God's grace in its various forms. So God has given us special gifts for us to use to serve others, to be a source of God's grace and blessings to others, because we're blessed. And we're going to be more blessed when we're unselfish. Second thing is serving allows us to experience the blessing of miracles. I was sharing this one with somebody the other day. Wow, this is awesome. Serving allows me to experience the blessing of miracles. In the Gospel of John chapter 2, verse 7, Jesus said to his servants, you all know that this is the miracle of the wedding, right? We're at the wedding feast. Jesus' mother comes and says, hey, we ran out of wine. He says, well, my time hasn't come yet. And we come to verse 7 of the Gospel of John, chapter 2, verse 7. It says, Jesus said to the servants, fill the jars with water. So they filled them to the brim. Then in verse 9 it says, the master of the banquet tasted the water that had been turned into wine. And then we find out that the servants were the ones, but they don't know what took place. They don't know what took place. And I don't know what I have it here. I don't. I might have to look. Okay. But the servants knew that. The Bible tells us that the masters, the guests, the people who were there had no idea that that water had been turned into wine. But guess who did know? The servants. See, the servant got to experience the blessing of a miracle. And we get to see that. We were praying for somebody recently, and me and a couple of other people. This person, when they visited that person, they told this person, you really need to see your surgeon. This situation you have is really getting bad, and you probably should go to the emergency room. But call your surgeon. The person came back the next day, and before even checking the person, said, you really need to call, because what I saw yesterday was not a good thing. You really should call your surgeon, maybe even consider going to the emergency room. Then the nurses who were visiting nurses were speaking to this person saying that. They checked this person, and guess what? She had nothing. The nurses still can't figure out, how's it possible you have nothing? And we got to experience the blessing of a miracle. People who have had cancer and go off to get cancer treatment and then come to our church and say, your prayers, I've heard them. And we get to experience the blessing of a miracle. Amen. Tell me that isn't the most awesome. Of all the blessings we probably get today, that's probably the one that would just push away and make us sure that God is real. When we respond to the call of serving, watch out. When you respond with no interest whatsoever, when you respond to that call to serve, watch out. God's about to do a miracle. Serving will bless our relationships with God and with others. Now, can I get an amen that we need help with relationships? Can anybody not say amen to that? I mean, it's hard to make a general statement because there are exceptions to the rule, right? Some people just have great relationships. But generally speaking, one of the obstacles and problems with marriages is self-centeredness. And I think that's true not just for marriages, but relationships in general. Ed Young, Dr. Ed Young, who's a senior pastor at Second Baptist Church in Houston, wrote a book. It's called The 10 Commandments of Marriage. You probably have heard me speak about that before. And he takes those 10 commandments of marriage and he correlates them to the scriptures. Now I want to share with you the very first commandment of marriage. Okay? And I don't have the book because I've given my books to my daughters, all who have gotten married. One of them was sitting back there, who was raising hand. Adrian got the book called The 10 Commandments of Marriage, and I need you to read that before you get married. Here's the first commandment. Thou shalt not be a selfish pig. Thou shalt not be a selfish pig. Now, Dr. Young is speaking to the audience, and this woman is sitting there saying to her husband, listen up, because this is about you. And he says, now notice how the argument starts going, right? Why is he talking about me? The one overweight is you. So you see already how the conversation has taken them to self-centeredness. And Dr. Young is saying, what? Thou shalt not be a selfish pig. I don't know if he could say it any better. Self-centeredness is one of those primary obstacles in relationships and in marriage. And when we serve others, it'll help our relationship. But to serve others means to serve like Jesus. Look at Matthew chapter 20, verse 28. Jesus, as the Son of Man, did not come to be served, but to serve. God is saying we have to change our attitude and be more like Christ. That's why the last week was about becoming like Christ, being transformed in the image of Christ. And do you see how this progressively gets tougher? Because we got to go from belonging to the family to start to look like Christ to then start to serve like Christ. And next week is even going to be tougher. Yeah, you might not want to come because you might not want to hear what I'm going to say because it's about evangelism. Nobody wants to hear about evangelism. Come on, I can't do that. And yet that's what we're going to be called to do next week. After we understand that we're called, what? To serve. Romans 14:18 says, anyone who serves Christ in this way is pleasing to God and receives approval. Rick Warren has a quote, and I don't know if it's in his book. I don't remember if it was his book, Purpose Driven Life, or Purpose Driven Church, or in one of his seminars, or one of his writings. He said, people don't always want you to be interesting. They want you to be interested. Say that again. People don't always want you to be interested. They want you to be interesting to be interested. And yet Philippians 2:4 says, don't look out for your own interests, but take on the interest of others too. You want to be blessed? You want to be blessed with approval, with acceptance, with respect, with love. Change your focus. Stop being a selfish pig. Is what Dr. Young says. Serving, number 4. Serving will bless you with the true meaning of life. When you come to a relationship with Christ, one of the first surprises that I will say with, and maybe all of you too, is you come to find out that your true meaning comes from giving your life away. Giving your life away. I know that's hard to swallow. That's how God wired us. He wired us to give our lives away. Why? Last week was becoming like Jesus. And the reason why God is calling us that our purpose in life is to give our lives away is because that's exactly what Jesus did. We continue to come back to this Jesus figure. It's going to be there. It's not going to go away. He's the one that served. He gave his life for us. Now I know that every time that we get into this topic about giving our lives away, for some reason, money and influence and power gets into it. You know, I tell you, there's times I resent when we start using money and influence as if it was some bad thing. I mean, God, glory to God, the people who have money and who are able to influence others, because they can be a blessing too. The problem isn't the money and the influence. The problem is when that becomes your identity. That's what the problem is. Jesus is saying, have all the money you got. The Bible's saying, all you want. Fine. You can influence all you want. But it's when you're its identity, because true meaning comes from ministry, from giving your life away, not your money and your influence. Mark 8:34 says, for whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me and for the gospel will save it. Keep coming back to giving this life away. You know, I love the way Mark 8:34, the way Eugene Peterson puts it in the Message Bible. It says, don't run from suffering, embrace it. Follow me and I'll show you how. Self-help is no help at all. Self-sacrifice is the way. My way to saving yourself through true self. And then he goes on to say, what good would it be to get everything you want and lose you? You know, what good is it to get everything you want? You lose to who you really are, the true you. And every one of us wants to know who we truly are. And knowing this should change our attitude. That's why 1 Corinthians 15:58 says, therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, stand firm. Let nothing move you. Always give yourself fully to the work of the Lord. Because if you do, if you know that your labor is in the Lord is not in vain. It says give fully. Everything you do for Christ has a purpose. Everything you do in life has a purpose. Even giving a cold water to somebody who's thirsty is significant and have rewards. Maybe not here. Maybe not here. And there are people who serve in this church. We're here early this morning, and none of you will ever know that they were here. None of you will ever know that they were here early this morning. So you can sit in the chair that you're in. And none of them are looking for you to say to them, thank you. Because you know what? They're already blessed. And they know that their significance is in giving their lives so that the reward awaits them in heaven. Serving will bless me and will bless me by increasing my faith. Ephesians 3:20 says, now all glory to God who is able through his mighty power at work within us to accomplish infinitely more than we might ask or think. The message says, my task is to bring out in the open and make plain what God, who created all this in the first place, has been doing in secret and behind the scenes all along, throughout followers of Jesus like yourselves. See, we're called to move ourselves from the comfort zone, right? And as we do, God increases our faith, revealing in us new potential in our lives. Some of us are asking, what is it that God wants me to do? Maybe all he's asking you to do is just take a step. Take a step of faith. Just step out and do something. If you don't know what it is, maybe it's just come to church and set up one chair. Something. And it will increase your faith. It will increase your faith. But you got to get out of your comfort zone. And when you do, according to the scripture, God is going to reveal to you a whole new potential that you have. Potential in your lives and potential in your church. And we'll begin to see his power work not just in us, but through us. And then we begin to see the doors that are going to open, rather than the ones that we're pushing, that God has already closed. So many of us are pushing doors that God has already closed, instead of walking by faith and allowing ourselves to see the doors that he might be opening for us. He called us, he shaped us to serve him. Almost wrapping it up here. One of the things that keeps coming up, you all know this, I don't have the time. I don't know what to do. I don't have any special skill, right? Or any special gift that I can contribute. I don't even know if you all need me. You may have heard this phrase before. God doesn't always call the equipped. He just equips the called. God doesn't always call the equipped, he equips the called. I got a book here by a guy named Warren Wiersbe. Pastor, Bible teacher. He's 87 years young. Most people know him by 50 books that he wrote. He wrote 50 books on the title Be. For example, be real, be successful, be joyful, be free, be rich, be mature, be ready. Most people who know this guy know he's known by John Piper and some of the other elites that we know within the theological circles. But he wrote this book called Being a Servant of God. And I want to share with you a quote from this book. It's an awesome quote. It says, the trouble with too many of us is that we think God called us to become manufacturers when he really called us to be distributors, because he alone has the resources to meet our needs. I want you to chew on that for about 10 seconds. So I got another quote from him. The trouble with too many of us is that we think God called us to be manufacturers when we really are called to be distributors. He alone has the resources. And he says in another quote in his book, ministry takes place when divine resources meet human needs through a loving channel to the glory of God. That sounds like a marketing slogan. I want to go back to the business and take this with you, because you can kind of pull this apart, right? Ministry takes place. Hey, listen, this is the marketing plan for this year, for our business. Ministry takes place when divine resources meet human needs to loving channels in the church. Did you see how that follows? Pretty cool, right? I mean, that's a great marketing theme for our church. You know, I mean, ministry takes place when divine resources comes down, meets human needs, and those human needs are met through those divine channels, through those divine resources, when we become loving channels. See, we weren't called to manufacture, we were called to distribute. It reminds me of the story in the book of Acts. Talked to the group this morning about that. Peter and John are there. They're going to the temple. There's this crippled guy who had been crippled from birth. Sitting there, he's looking up, you know, he's begging. He wants alms. And he's looking at Peter, waiting to get the alms, right? He's looking like, come on, you going to give me something? I'm going to give you all day. And this is what Peter says to him. I love it. This is what Peter says. Listen to it, because this is us. Peter said, I don't have any silver or gold for you. Got it. Psalm 107 says several times, God is good. Amen. God is good. Listen, God is good. Just it says, because God is good. I don't have any silver or gold for you, but I'll give you what I have. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazarene, get up and walk. Peter took the lame man by the right hand, he helped him up, and he said, and he did this, and the man's feet and ankles were instantly healed and strengthened. And it says further on that he got up and he yelled, glory to God. All that being a divine what? The divine resources. I can't give you money, I can't give you gold, but you know what I can? Is I can call upon the power of divine Jesus the Christ of Nazarene, and in his power I can reach out to you and I can tell you get up and walk again. Because I don't have to manufacture a solution. All I have to do is be the distributor of the solution. Are you following me? Can I get an amen? Amen. All right. Yeah, you got this. This is good. Our marketing plan is working, Ken. I said working already. We're working it. All right. Peter didn't have to manufacture the solution. He had it. Peter was blessing. But he also received the blessing. Guess what he experienced? The blessing of experiencing a miracle. Did you notice just like the servant at the wedding experienced the conversion of water into wine? Who did the servant? Peter experienced the blessing of a miracle. And God can use you and me to do the same thing. Others in similar situations maybe have doubts or excuses or use whatever they say, I can't do this. But if you look at those who were in doubt, those who had excuses, God uses them also. Moses said, I can't lead, yet God used him to lead the people out of Egypt, didn't he? Moses did that. David was the youngest, insignificant of all his brothers. Insignificant. And God used him to kill this giant, and then what? Made him a king. Paul killed Christians. Come on. And God used him and became the most prolific writer of the epistles that we have in the Bible, and the example of church planting. Come on, that was Paul. And God can use us also, because the more I bless others, the more God blesses me. The more I serve, the more God honors me. And the more I minister, the more God ministers to me. That's the biblical concept of sowing. What you sow is what you reap. Can I ask you a question? Did you ever sow a seed and reap a seed? Never. When you reap a seed, guess what you get? You get a tree with more seeds. Just ask the youth. Monique and I planted these vegetables in this garden that she has in her backyard. It was part of a youth program. We planted 1 or 2 seeds. Guess what she got? These big plants that have more seeds. You plant a seed and you're going to get a tree with more seeds. So I want to close with this. Proverbs 11:25 says, a generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed. And I hope you're going to ask yourself today, where is God calling you to serve? And today we're going to serve you. Today I want to ask Doug, and I want my wife Elisa to come forward, and maybe Ruth, you can come forward. We want to serve you, the community, as an example of service. And then after that, I'm going to give you the benediction. We want to serve you in prayer. We're going to be by that cross. And then if you need a prayer, you come.